and welcome to another episode of the Lume podcast. Today
with who?
Martin.
Yeah, just me. You're introducing a special guest I'm not familiar with.
Today with Martin.
Have you heard of him before?
Guess that. Wow, yeah. Today we have a very interesting topic. I think.
Ralph chose the topic today, which is a very, very rare coinkydink. Yeah, you don't really choose the episodes. He's usually showing up and saying, "What are we doing today?" But today he has chosen an episode.
Yes, and I was inspired by Andrew Morgan, who I saw, and he was complaining, more or less, as usual, in his wonderful way, about the abundance of new watch releases that you cannot even just sit down, relax, digest the watch, trying to even get into these watches. It's just, there's too much. The hype train is just too fast. It's an endless release cycle. At any point in the last 48 hours, you will have 3 new limited editions, a brand new micro brand launching, a legacy brand launching a new dial color. I mean, there is just so much going on. In the old times, I know it sounds like a grumpy old man, but in the old times, we had Watches and Wonders, Basel World, all of this stuff. Once a year, the novelties would be announced. That's it. Watch brands who were not attending this watch fair would be on a different time frame, but that's it. Basically, it was 1 or 2 times during a year that watches would be announced, maybe 3. That's it. And that was your window for new releases. And then you had time to just get used to them, understand if you want them, understand if there's something that you want to pursue, maybe. And then you had years sometimes before you actually would pull the trigger on them, because it wasn't that you were swamped with so much new stuff, right? Now, might be also social media that you just scroll on whatever, Instagram and all of this stuff, and you just see too many things, too much new, and that nobody can actually stay on the same thing. I mean, if I publish a review of, let's say, a Rolex Explorer, right? Then it will be the 10,000th
millionth
review of it.
Okay, all right. But before we get into it, we still got to do our wristwatch check. Well, let's start slowly. Instead of diving into the deep end, we go slowly, sir. What are you wearing?
I'm wearing the Code 1159.
Oh,
self-winding and steel and green. Yes.
As I said, I this is the watch that if you, I completely forgot you owned it. Meanwhile, is there anything else you want to say about the Code 1159? Or
not just that it's a wonderful watch. It's just absolutely incredible. Every time I wear it, I mean, it's just like, I feel like, oh my God, it wears so comfortably. It is a very good looking watch. I cannot take my eyes off it. I love that dial. Huh?
I'd say that's subjective. You said it's a very good looking watch.
I like it. I mean, it's, of course, for me.
There are aspects I like. I like the cutout in the mid case.
Mm-hmm.
I like the double domed crystal.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's it. Yeah.
I
like the curvature thing. But frankly, the only 1159 that I've looked at, I mean, like, holy shit, that's the one I want. Or if I, not want, but that's the one I could get behind, was the Aventurine dial perpetual calendar. And that thing was insane.
Yeah. I also really like the Star Wheel.
When my good friend John Mayer showed me the original Star Wheel, and we chatted about that, I realized, well, yeah, he's a good friend. There's an Instagram picture of us as well.
Yeah, of course,
on my Instagram.
We talk daily on the phone.
I talked once, yes, but the cool thing was he was showing me watches, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what, this is cool, and I'm like, yeah, but the new one is just, it doesn't do it for me. And the old one, if you look at the old one, it was tiny, right? It was 34 millimeters, maybe. around there, plus minus. And the star wheels were clear, all of them.
Yeah.
And it looked so cool. And the package itself, he also showed me the old, the one that came from the remaster 02, that weird rectangular watch.
Mm-hmm.
And that was also a small watch. So think about if you were to have a reverso on its side. That's the size it was. And then AP says, no, we're going to make it 100 millimeters long. It'll go from your elbow to your wrist. And it's stupid, like seriously. And this is the issue that I told him. I said, why do they have these great back catalogs? And then they continue to ruin them. Like, look, and I specifically said, look at VC. Look at the 222, right? That is a remaster done right. The 35 millimeter, 37 millimeter, whatever it was, right? But to have these like, Star Wheel 42 mm, and the original one was in the mid 30s, it doesn't make sense. So that's the reason I didn't like it. The Aventurine dial that they used for the perpetual calendar was so Aventurine that I really, really liked it. Right? It glowed, glue, whatever you want to call it. But that to me is a modern sized watch in a modern form factor. It's fine. But as soon as you try to remake something from the past, like the Star Wheel, like now you're stepping on history's toes, and I don't like it.
Oh, okay.
But yours is fine. Yours is not trying to be something else.
See, you know what? I have to mention this. My good friend and young watch collector Ilan, he's under the Instagram.
Elon Musk?
No, Ilan, Ilan, not Elon, but yeah, pretty similar. So he's you can find him on Instagram as German watch lover, and he basically listened to all of our podcasts, everything we have ever created, and now he has done the entire back catalog, and he said, see, since his handle is German watch lover, and he said, like, Martin sometimes comes across as the watch hater. Does he really like watches? I said, no. That's the point.
I agree. I mean, once again, my friend Inesh, she says the same exact thing. She's listened to a lot of our podcasts. And she says, like, do you really have to hate everything? And I'm like, it's not my fault I hate it. I just don't like it. But I have nothing nice to say. They say, like, when you don't have something nice to say, you shouldn't say anything at all.
That's what my grandma said.
Then I wouldn't say anything and we'd have no podcast.
That's the truth. I mean, we have to have opinions on things. And why my parents always also, I mean, generally the rule is you should say whatever you have to say as long as you say it relatively politely, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You can always speak your opinion. Just
some
say
people
it in a way
might
that
get
is
offended, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I told somebody their watch was out, but then again, would I tell anyone that I didn't like their watch? No, of course not. I have people come up to me and show me an Invicta, and they're so proud of having an Invicta, and I have to come up with something to say because I can't like demean them, right? So I'm just like, oh, it looks good on you. Like, you say something that is, it might not be the truth, but do you see the guy? He's like happy about this watch, and I can't kill his entire ego or mood or.
No. It's also sometimes it's an opportunity. I see this sometimes when I see somebody with a watch that is, for example, clearly 3 sizes too big for their wrist, right? Something for example, right? Mm-hmm. Or like somebody with an offshore concept, whatever, and they have the money, but it just doesn't fit them really, right? Doesn't fit their appearance, doesn't fit anything, but it's just like, and then there's the opportunity for you to ask, so what on this watch made you buy it? Why did you like this watch so much, right? I mean, without actually complimenting or anything else that you don't want to bend yourself to, you can just ask like, wow, Correct. It's an AP. That's fantastic. It's a great watch, for example. But why did you like that watch specifically, right? And it's that opens up also a nice conversation, a bit more meaning.
Yes, I am able to not be negative all the time. However, we've been doing this long enough where I just don't care anymore. Like, I'm going to speak my mind. Ralph's going to be the nice guy. I'm going to be the mean one. And that's how it's going to be. Like, that's
exactly.
Why not? But anyway, on what am I wearing? I am wearing still my FXD, which is now, I don't know, 3 weeks into purchase, 2 weeks. And I still love it. Once again, I haven't kept an FXD for this long yet. Remember, this is my fourth one. But I always sold them very quickly because it just somehow didn't gel in my collection. But being that it's all alongside of the Pelagos 39, it just takes up, less mental space, because if I want a bracelet, I have it. If I want fixed lugs, I have it. I just can't choose one over the other. And it's blue. So I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
That is all. And if somebody told me my watch was ugly or stupid, I would say, no, it's not. You're stupid.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. I mean, this look ugly, and all of this is the eye of the beholder, right? You just have to say, if you like it, buy it. Is it for you? No. For me, no, it isn't. I would never want to wear this watch, but you don't even have to say this. You can just nah, it's not for me.
Just keep in mind, Invicta is a fairly successful brand.
It's also a brand with a lot of history. They are Swiss made. They are around for whatever donkeys of years. They're not not a young
they have
watch
the title sponsor of a Formula 2 team, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's fine. They suck at racing just as much as they do at making watches. So that's at least they're consistent.
Yeah, look, how
many points do this Invicta team have? Let's look at the rankings right now. Invicta.
But I think it's just worth just opening the Invicta store's website, and you have to be very, very brave. Sometimes I think you should wear sunglasses so you're not being blinded with all of the bling that is looking at you. And this is I think it's the US site that I have here, and I'm sharing that with you. So, for example, the Invicta Bold Vanguard men's watch, 50 millimeters gold and green. Usual retail price, $350. You can buy it for $69. Right? And has this, did you see this? I mean, I have to open this watch because.
But as far as I have seen Invicta, they always do this price thing where it's like $350. Yeah. Or act now and you get it for 10 cents.
Yeah, but look at this. It has this
rope
around. I mean, you cannot make this watch up. And it's probably 100 kilometers thick. 50 millimeters
thick. What
wide.
Is the thickness? It won't even say. Thickness, no.
Thickness, you don't want to know. You just don't.
But anyway, I did find the current standing. Invicta's fourth in F2, and their driver, Rafael Camara, is third in the driver's rankings this year. So they're actually not doing as bad as I thought they were. But last year,
but also Invicta is making also some good. I mean, good. Yeah, they actually do make good mechanical watches, right? I mean, they have a lot of. What?
They make Submariner knockoffs. That's what they make.
Yeah, they have diving.
Oh, sorry, they have Explorer knockoffs as well.
But let's see. I mean, Invicta is quite. They're around for a while, right?
Of course, because they, just like most of these brands have been bought and sold. It's not because they're good. It's just because somebody wanted to buy the name. This is the same thing with Blancpain, right? They've been out of business for how long until Jean-Claude Biver bought them back up, right? So I think they've changed hands more times than anyone knows.
Yeah, but they were liquidated and somebody bought the rights on the watch and whatever. Huh?
It's like who does Fossil own? Fossil owns someone as well. There's a proper watch group that.
But you have to say, like, glycine is part of the Invicta group as well.
Glycine.
Yeah? Glycine. Okay, glycine.
Yes.
And I think is it Technomarine? I'm not 100% sure, but they have a couple of different brand watches as well. And I mean, glycine is I had a glycine once for a while. I had a diver.
I was thinking Zodiac. Zodiac is owned by Fossil.
Yeah.
So that once again is a historical brand that was then bought by Fossil and turned into garbage.
I had a glycine. I'm trying to remember.
Glycine Airman is the one that everyone knows.
Yeah, I had a Combat.
It was the first 24-hour dial on a watch.
Oh.
And I think it was also the first 24-hour external bezel. So quite a few firsts on the Glycine Airman.
Yeah. I had a Glycine Combat. I think it was a good diver's watch, but then, I don't know what it was that made me sell it, but I didn't own it for a long time. I think I sold it very, very quickly.
As you do.
That was one of the first ones that I actually sold very quickly because I was like, whoa, no, don't want it. Weird.
We've had a bunch of those. Some of them were for the right reasons. Anywho, let's talk
back to
about
the topic.
All these new watches, all these new
oxymorons, these limited editions. When one of these micro brands says this is a limited edition of 100 pieces, while it's clearly mass-produced in a Chinese factory, and there is nothing limited about it just because they say it is. They make it limited, right? You could make 1 million of these. There's no limit because it is just a mass-produced watch. There's nothing special about it. It's not that they are handmade and they can't only make one a year or something. No. Yeah, and then we have just so many of these. Then I think we also have this tendency that now, because the first companies started to do this, like bring out something every year, and the pressure. I mean, look, Tudor releases this year on Watches and Wonders. I think most people or most YouTubers or whatever are saying that was a very disappointing. Disappointing. They brought out a completely new watch, which is these the Monarch. They brought out a couple of different dial colors. Now after Watches and Wonders, they brought out the new Bumblebee with a completely new case design and all of this stuff. I mean, what else are they supposed to do? It's just 1 year, 12 months.
We talked about this, right? But yes. in fact, in a normal year, they would bring out one watch, maybe a few changes in colors, but like that's
exactly. And then
a lot.
All the FXDs that we have, all the carbon ones and the titanium ones and the chronograph and GMT and what have you. There's so much happening. And then they're saying, they're only bringing out black base. How many Pelagos came out in the last 2 or 3 years? A lot.
And
so, come on.
But here's my main issue. I go onto YouTube and I watch all of these videos. I'm subscribed to most of these guys, and I look through my subscriptions, right? And I try to keep up with it, right? So I'm trying to make sure everything is watched. And you look at it and it's like 20 videos in a day about the same stupid, yellow watch. And it gets old very, very quickly because everyone has to make a video about it immediately.
You have to talk about it.
Britt Pierce says something different than, Andrew Morgan, who says something different than Teddy Baldessar. It just, And, I actually, after a while, I stopped watching the Bumblebee videos because it was just too redundant.
Yeah, I think there are also just side effects for us psychologically because we need sometimes time to just decompress, and also just understand if we like something, if we don't like something. We get the super high saturated watch pictures in our Instagram constantly. Your brain cannot really rationalize anymore what you actually want. It is sometimes, I think, more that you are starting to think, what would people think if I post this watch? Rather than, do I like it? right? I mean, this is so psychologically bad, right? Because you should get out more, right? And this is, I think, what it really is my point. And I think Andrew Morgan's point was he didn't fall necessarily in love with watches. It was just that he found people, like-minded people, that he could then interact with. It's more about the people and the people you meet and the people you interact with and talk to and all of this stuff and discuss maybe endlessly about the right shock absorber or the right balance wheel. That was a nerdish thing back in the days. It was done in watch forums, right? Not in public. Now you can talk about these things in public, and that's great because you meet people, right? Mm-hmm. But you are so easily burned out with this hobby because there is this non-stop release cycle that just bombards you with it. And that's why I think sometimes you just have to take a step back, and that's why I wanted to discuss this with you and say, like, just go do the slow stuff, right? And this is what I think in some watch groups you have this where you have constant chasing of the new things. For example, the micro brand watch group that I'm in, obviously because there's always new micro brands and the micro brands need to release new things constantly to just, create their brand. And then there is the watch group which we are in where basically people still chase the good old top 20, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants a nice AP, everybody wants a nice Rolex, somebody buys, likes Breitlinks, a Top Time, or whatever it might be. And it's being the traditional collecting where you can buy a watch that is on the market for 10, 15 years or even discontinued, and you still want that watch because it's the watch that you like, even though it gets drowned out with all of the new shit that is being thrown at you, right?
Mm-hmm. But there's also, you mentioned one interesting factor before when we were speaking. You said that look at the JLC, this integrated sports bracelet bullshit thing.
I like it.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to it. But obviously, integrated bracelet. Come on. But the issue is, it comes out when? In September, November.
Shipments start in September. They said,
So what if? Who knows what's going to come out before then, right? Let's say you're gung ho, and this has happened to me before. I knew this was when the Black Bay 54 came out. The Black Bay 54 comes out. I wanted a Black Bay 54, and I was like, okay, I'll be the first one in a lane to get one. I was on the list. I was the first on the list. I knew it would come. I just didn't know when it would come. And then as soon as, I think it was the day before, I got the call. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to buy the Cartier Santos because I wanted the Cartier Santos as well. So I bought the Cartier Santos because I found a guy selling it, good deal. Then the very next day, I get a call about the Black Bay 54. And this is the issue that we have is oftentimes the wait time. It's not that it's too long. It's that other things, opportunities arise, and then you're kind of screwed, right? I can't buy both. Back then I did, but the funny thing was I told the guy, I was like, I just bought this yesterday, the Santos, but if you give me a discount, I'll buy it. And back then, that was 2 years ago. They gave me a 15% discount, and I said, okay, for that price, I'm going to buy it. And I did sell it, but obviously I didn't. I said I'm going to keep whichever one I like better, and I like the Santos better at the time, and that's what happened. But it's not the first time I've done this, right? I've bought 2 watches before simultaneously when one comes out and one I'm waiting for, and then I see which one I like better, and I sell the one I
see.
Don't
I think
like.
I think that there's you're right and you're wrong at the same time. You're Schrödinger's watch collector. So my point there is, I think sometimes you make the decision that you want a watch. Let's say you want that Explorer 2, the Polar Explorer that I just got. And then you go to your authorized dealer and you're saying, I want it. And he says, well, you need to wait because you have no history, whatever, blah, 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 wait list. You wait for a year or 2 and you get the call. You're excited. you get it. Or you see that new JLC and you love it. You try it on because they have demo pieces like I did, and you think, that's it. That's my next watch. It's amazing. Then you realize, you have to wait until September. And that was, I think, in February or whatever when they announced it, or March. Or was it after? Was it before or after the Watches and Wonders? I'm not so sure. Anyhow.
No,
so
it was
maybe
during.
During. Okay, so then it was April. That's not so far at all. Wow.
Yeah, it was April.
Feels like such a long time
forever
ago.
again.
Yeah,
2 months
exactly.
ago.
Like what? Let me see. When I did take the picture here from it. Yeah, April. Okay, weird. It feels already like a long time ago. So my point is, and then you think April, it only comes in September. Should I commit?
No.
And that's the
what
question.
about your Vacheron? The same thing goes with the new Vacheron cardinal points.
Yeah, I put my name on.
At least you don't have to deposit, but like by the time that comes around, like who knows where you're going to be?
Yeah, 100%. And then of course I cannot have two overseas, right? I think just from a budgetary perspective, I would have to sell my other overseas. Do I want to? Now that, because what I wanted to do at the time, I put my name down for the white one because I thought, great, then the itch for the Explorer 2, the Polar Explorer, it's also scratched.
When have you ever scratched an itch with something that wasn't the actual thing? Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, but this is a better watch in every regard, right? I mean, the cardinal points. So
no, because it's not as the Explorer 2 is a beast. You know, and I think the cardinal points is still a little bit more refined.
Yeah, of course. But I'm saying it's a different league, but it has the same visual impact. It's orange together with white dial. So, and it's a tool watch. So it would have probably worked out. But my point is, then in the meantime, because I got the great deal on the Polar Explorer. So now I have a Polar Explorer. Do I still want the cardinal points with a white dial? I don't know. Now my situation changed. I have the overseas with the blue dial, and I have a Polar Explorer. I love the Polar Explorer. I don't think I want to sell it. So if I sell the blue overseas to get the cardinal points overseas, which color dial would I want to buy? Because I'm on the list for the white one now, so I have to change that. Do I want the blue one?
Go green or brown?
Green or brown or blue?
No, blue. Blue is not cardinal points worthy. Green or brown are your two options. Because those look like they belong. The blue is it doesn't gel well with the idea.
So I think I would then my tendency would go to brown.
I agree. Brown was the winner in this one for sure.
But I'm not so sure. Is it really? And then I have to look at them again and think, do I really want this? Or just stay
would you get rid of your Vacheron for this, right?
Exactly. And I think probably not. Probably I'll just keep the blue one then. And
and then there's the whole point. You save a whole bunch of money. And I love this kind of logic, right? Because you end up, of course, you still have to go through the mental exercise, right? There's been a lot of times when I have some kind of OCD where I want something, right?
Yes.
And then somehow my OCD is scratched by me selling something else because then I see like, I have too many. This happened with the Grand Seiko GMT that I had, right? It was my only date window watch. And my OCD was like, kind of like, but what do I do? Like, I really, really am kind of bugged by having this date window here. As much as I love GMTs, I don't want a date window. And in that case, my thought was, okay, well, I could either buy another GMT and then I have a pair of GMTs and the collection is more balanced, or I just sell the one that I have a bunch of no dates and we're done. And that's what I ended up doing. And I am okay with that. And now my collection is, in my mind, complete, so to speak. Not complete, but balanced.
Yeah, and I think that's great if you have anything that that balances you out, because it's I find it I find it actually quite nice when people post, like a friend of mine, Marco, he just recently got his Yardmaster the titanium Yachtmaster. What is it? Yachtmaster 2? Or
No, Yachtmaster 1. So
Yachtmaster
Yachtmaster 42. Yeah. 42.
Correct. Yachtmaster 42, the titanium version.
Titanium.
He got this, right, from his authorized dealer.
RLX titanium.
Yeah, of course. Very special. And I was thinking like, oh my God, yeah, I completely forgot this exists because you don't see it that much. I've
never seen one.
I've seen one in real life from another friend who visited Dubai and from Germany, and he had this watch. And I tried it on and I thought, wow, it is spectacular. It is really nice because it's like everything that my Pelagos 39 or your Pelagos 39 does better, right? For me. Personally, I thought it's a perfect watch. But I forgot about it with all of this new hype and the land dwellers and whatever came out.
This is an issue we don't talk about, right? Is that a lot of new releases, regardless of how good they are, they get washed out in the noise that is all of the other releases. Correct. And I'm sure there's tons of things that, we have forgotten about and that were perfectly good watches. And in isolation, they would have been fantastic options. But because something else happened to come out at the same time, you forget about it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Right? And this shows you how messed up this whole watch industry is.
And what it does with our brains. Yeah.
Yeah. But surprisingly, this is not just the same. For those of you that watched the series Entourage, this is something that they mentioned with movies, right? One of your things is when your movie comes out, it's the biggest indicator of how well that movie is going to do is obviously how many tickets you sell in the first weekend. And depending on what comes out on the same weekend, you could either be doing great or you could be screwed. And in this example, Vinny, the main character, was in a movie that came out. And at the same time, some Pixar movie came out. And everyone had to take their kids to see the Pixar movie on the first weekend. So they didn't go and see his movie. So his movie tanked. Right. Does that mean his movie was not good? No. It's just because it was in the finite window of something else happening.
Yeah.
So same thing with watches, right? And of course, Rolex and, these other companies, if you can't get it when it comes out, that also becomes like, for instance, when we went to Dubai Mall during Dubai Watch Week, I considered heavily the 36 millimeter Tudor white dial, Dune dial, whatever it's called, Ranger, because it was there. And have I considered it since then? No. But this whole impulse idea, people
FOMO.
do this.
Yes.
It was FOMO. It's there. It's the first one. Like, when can you get it again? Like, and the fact that they only had 5 of them and you're like, wow, the day it comes out. Have you ever had to watch the day it came out? Like, never. So this kind of stuff.
My blue Black Bay 58, I had this on the day it came out.
Did you?
Yeah.
From the AD?
Yeah. They even sent it a day before official sales date because it was sent from Europe.
Maybe you had
I had Vasta.
Very good connections at the time.
Yeah, I did. Because I bought a few watches from them, all Tudors, but they're not anymore a Tudor retailer, unfortunately. But that was really, really good. And it's
not
nice
like you would
to
pay
have
retail for Tudors anymore anyway.
No.
It's ridiculous. Now it's secondhand.
Brings me to the other point. Now that we have so many watches that are coming out, right? And 99% of all watches coming out will hit 50% of your wallet.
Yep.
Yeah. So the moment you put it on your wrist and you walk out of the AD, you lose 50%. It's a lot of loss of a massive chunk of capital that you have. So you have, and this whole thinking is then also, do you really want this? And then you think, you are not buying this weird, quirky watch that you really love. You're getting more defensive. You're thinking, I should have a bit of damage limitation, basically, right? So you're buying stuff that is probably more safe because you're expecting to lose. Otherwise, you lose too much money. Yeah. Or you wait until it's resale. For example, with the JLC, right? I was thinking, you know what? I'll wait until September. I still love the watch. I looked at my wrist shot that I took in the boutique when I put this watch on, and I thought, yep, it still is a wonderful watch, and I loved wearing it. It felt really, really good. And I still would like to have one. But I'm waiting for September and probably until next year to see how it does on the secondary market.
Yep.
Maybe I can buy it there and save
this is
some
funny because
money.
my brother said the same thing. He wants this watch, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to see what Joma Shop or the secondhand market is going to do afterwards." And knowing that it's JLC, I'm expecting it to tank a bit.
A bit, but JLC,
a bit, not 50%, but a bit.
There's certain watch brands that just totally surprise me of how the retail business works. For example, Cartier is surprisingly stable, even though the watches are readily available, and I just don't understand why.
I watched that video, by the way, that you sent me a video. We'll talk about this next week, probably, about the watches that we see in the wild. And this guy says he's never seen a Cartier in the wild because he has no Cartier boutiques anywhere near him. Yes. And I think this has a lot to do with it, is Cartier boutiques are very limited in where they are. Of course, we are spoiled in UAE with how many we have. But I mean, a lot of people don't have access to Cartier. And if you don't have access to Cartier, guess what? No one's going to buy it. If no one's going to buy it, no one's going to see it. And so forth and so forth. It becomes a vicious circle.
Absolutely.
So in that case, maybe these people are the ones buying it secondary because that's all they have the access to.
You're right. It is
as always.
Yeah, as always. Yes.
But so that's kind of the issue that we have. The more new stuff that comes out, the more our brains get confused, right? There's this what is it? Paralyzation by choice. Yeah. What do you call it?
The paradox of choice.
No, not the paradox. Paralyzed by choice saying. Decision paralysis.
Right. Yes, of course. Yeah.
So essentially, the more you have,
the less
you. So, and this is.
To finish this, the less likely you are to choose anything. The more choice you have, the less likely is that you choose anything of it, which is weird.
And I mentioned this talking to ChatGPT a good amount of time, talking about my buying, requirements, so to speak. And one of my buying requirements, which was very specific, and I created this buying requirement a long time ago. I can't even find it here, but essentially I said, when Hodinkee was selling a lot of watches, Hodinkee specifically in their shop sold, they had Omegas. But they only chose specific versions of Omegas to sell, right? So for instance, I'll give you an example. When I bought my Speedy, they only sold the Hasselite version. They wouldn't sell the Sapphire Sandwich version because they said this is the original one, right? So they curated kind of this shop. And back in the day, they didn't sell a lot of stuff, but the stuff they sold were really good choices. So since then, I've kind of said, okay, well, I will only buy the stuff that Hodinkee once sold in the shop. I said this before already. And essentially, the reference number is what I look at, and I match the reference. So everything that I have that was sold on Hodinkee, my Speedy, my Grand Seiko, my Zenith, all of these were once sold by Hodinkee, my Hamilton, G-Shocks, all of this stuff. But what ChatGPT said is essentially, this is not, this whole thing, way I built this choice decision was there for avoiding this paralysis by decision, right? By choice. So I basically built a framework simply because I didn't want to deal with choosing. And I say, somebody else choose for me and I'll choose for what you choose. And this has made my life a lot easier because now ChatGPT said this, if something doesn't meet this criteria, then it's off the table.
Yeah.
And that makes life easy.
Yeah, that makes life easy. And it's also, when you think about it, and you can also make up these rules, like I only buy a watch that's in the market for 10 years. I only buy watches that are whatever, specific from a specific brands or something. You can make it up the way you want. But I think what also helps is when you are in that bubble and you're in this content consumption bubble, to just step back and think like, do I really need to watch the 5th review of the Bumblebee, as you said in the beginning, right? Does it add anything to what I already know about it or like about it or don't like about it? Probably not. So maybe it's time to just let the hype train pass through. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe you like the watch eventually, because that both of us have this. That
hype and FOMO are two very dangerous things.
Yeah, there is FOMO and YOLO, right? This whole like, you're thinking like, okay, I really want this watch, and you only live once. So you think, yeah, just go for it, right? Get into the hype. And then you end up with something, think, or the group dynamics. You think, we really need to buy this new watch because everybody wants to buy, is buying this new watch. The Royal Pop, for example, or something. So which is a very good point to go back to. The Royal Pop, is it on your mind?
Not even slightly.
Exactly. For me, the same. It's like, yeah, I was toying with the idea to get it as a little table clock for my desk here. But then I thought, that's just money thrown out of the window, right?
It is. And
I'd rather spend it on a Chopard strap.
Yeah, except you could have bought 6 Royal Oak Pops for that much. But
yeah, but in that, these are the things. There's a hype. It is great, and you can just ignore it.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
and I think that's the takeaway here is you need to have something for yourself, a rule, so to speak, to limit this constant stream of shit that's coming at you, right? Yes. And yeah, you can watch all the videos, but I mean, my rule is the stupidest rule ever because, of course, there's a bunch of watch brands that like Rolex was never carried, JLC was never carried. So there I have freedom to buy whatever I want. But the lucky thing is those brands don't make very many things that I like. So that limits my choices a bit much. Yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, now I'm kind of in a predicament, right? Hodinkee closed the shop. So what have I been doing? I've been going back cataloging. I go into the Wayback Machine and I look at what did Hodinkee sell in 2021. And then I look at those reference numbers and then nice. This is what I've been doing. This is how the Zenith came about, right? Because it was something they sold at the time. But this limits your factors of what you can and can't buy if you stick to it. And, I was watching Casey Neistat video on YouTube.
Oh, right.
He had a rule and he was talking about running. And he said he's run now for, I think, 688 days in a row without missing a day. And he says he's, like, what is a run? And he said for him, 3 miles. He said every day he goes out for 3 miles and that's it. He said if he wants to do more, he can, but 3 miles is the minimum for him to check off, boom, I did it. And this is, once again, an arbitrary number that he just randomly came up with and has stuck to it for 2 years. Mm-hmm. So in the same way, building a framework often helps.
100%. Yeah.
It helps you. But I mean, can I say it helped me? No, because I still made a lot of terrible decisions with watch buying, but still. Yeah, I'm sure I would have made more terrible ones if I didn't have the framework.
Sure, but for me, I don't really have a framework except that I really need to like the watch and it has to be sort of a good deal, right? I mean, I'm just not buying the watch just because I can get it. I mean, I've fallen into this trap many, many times, right? With the Tudors, I had at some stage, I think 9 Tudors in my collection. I bought every new Tudor that came out because I was really a big Tudor fanboy and I had the access to them, right? And now I have a Ranger and that's it. That's the only Tudor I have.
I had a bunch of Rolexes and now I only have an Explorer.
Yeah. And
there you go.
You have the quintessence of this. And sometimes it's all you need actually.
But without buying all of those, you wouldn't have realized what you wanted, I think.
Maybe it's a journey, right? This is also the thing, and you should enjoy the journey. But on the other hand, I could have done more watch meetups. I could have looked at or tried out more watches in person with a bit of time, speak to the owners. Sometimes you gather so much more valuable information, right, about this, on what you like and what you don't like. And now, for example, I'm thinking that I saw the Yachtmaster 42, the titanium, and looked at it on the screen and looked at my wrist shot that I took with this watch and thought, Jesus, what a good watch, and how much I liked it on my wrist. So maybe that is worth actually chasing for the next.
If you get a good enough, deal on it, that's the other thing, right?
Sure, they are still going with a nice premium, right? I think they're 64,000 retail, which is already quite a lot. But I think you can't get it under 90 right now, right? Pre-owned. So,
yeah,
have to figure it out.
Anyway, such is life.
Such is life.
We'll see what happens in the future. But
exactly.
No doubt before we hear you again or talk to you again, you will have 16 new releases and limited editions on your radar before next week.
Of course.
So, all right.
See you then.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Bye-bye.